My name is Claire Mitchell. I'm 30, and I work predicting the worst-case scenarios for a fintech firm in Denver. But nothing in my job could have prepared me for a 10-second voicemail that shattered my family world. It hit on a Tuesday afternoon, wedged between a risk report and a cup of coffee that had gone cold. I pressed play and heard my mom's voice, flat and detached, like she was canceling a magazine subscription. Not her daughter. "You're out. Don't come back. We're moving forward without you." No explanation, no softness, just a judgment. I froze, staring at the phone, feeling my heartbeat echo in my ears. Then the part of my brain trained to safeguard other people's money quietly flicked on. I didn't call back. I didn't argue. I sent a single text, "Okay." Then I moved first. I logged into the family LLC I had built from scratch, the one holding our rental properties and the triplex we were about to close, and locked down every permission tied to my name. No more deals signed with my credit. No transfers without my explicit approval. Next, I called the real estate agent and pulled myself out of the house deal they had been counting on. Done. Then I froze the retirement accounts I had structured for them, making sure nothing could be tampered with behind my back. By the time I finished my coffee, every easy path they thought they had through me was gone. I assumed that would be the end of it. The next morning, my phone was buzzing off the nightstand, a relentless clamor of notifications. 46 missed calls. Mom. Dad. Unknown numbers. One from a lawyer I recognized. The last notification was a voicemail. I slipped in my earbuds and hit play while the coffee machine sputtered to life. "This is Evan Coleman, counsel for Mark and Diane Mitchell. Claire, we need to speak. This is serious. Call me back as soon as possible." His voice carried that taut tension lawyers get when clients leave out crucial details. I let the message play out and stared at the wall, listening to the coffee drip. Texts kept pouring in from my mom. "Claire, this is just a misunderstanding. Call me. We need to talk." Dad chimed in. "Kiddo, whatever happened, we can fix this. Please call us back." Another from Mom. "We didn't mean it like that. We were upset. Come home, we can explain." Funny, I thought. Because yesterday, there had been no confusion in her voice. "You're out. Don't come back. We're moving forward without you." That was clear enough. Half on autopilot, I opened the building security app while my coffee finished. The live feed showed a clip from earlier, my dad standing outside the glass door of my apartment building, hands stuffed into his jacket pockets, eyes on the second floor where my unit was. He checked his phone, hesitated like he might buzz the apartment, then turned away. No call. No knock. Retreat. My chest tightened for a second before I shoved the feeling down. When people show you how easily they can cut you off, there's no rush to comfort them when the tables turn. On the commute to work, my phone buzzed relentlessly in my bag. I let it. Once at my desk, I sent 3 concise messages. "I'm safe. I need time." I heard the voicemail. "I am not ready to speak with the lawyer. I will respond in writing." That was all I owed anyone. A little before lunch, my coworker Jenna rolled over on her chair, lowering her voice. "You've been staring at that screen like you're about to explode. Everything okay at home?" I almost said yes, out of habit, but stopped myself. Not really. My parents had decided I was out of the family business. Jenna raised an eyebrow. "Do they realize you are the family business?" I shrugged. "They left a voicemail. I locked things down. Now there are lawyers involved." She whistled. "Look, I'm not telling you what to do, but once money's involved, people start performing. If you make moves out of guilt, they'll spin it into an admission of fault. Make sure every decision you make is something you could explain to a judge." I nodded. Risk management was my life. Years spent building systems to prevent quiet money moves. And now I realized I had built the perfect system to stop my own family from doing the same to me. Later that morning, a text popped up from an unknown number. "Heard you pulled out of the triplex because you're overwhelmed. You okay?" It was a cousin on Dad's side. Overwhelmed? That wasn't my word. It sounded like something Brooke would say while blinking back fake tears. The pieces clicked into place. The timing of her losing her marketing job. The way she kept tossing around phrases like streamline the LLC and free up equity during Sunday dinners. As if she had ever cared about spreadsheets before. And now she was unusually quiet, like a puppeteer offstage waiting for the strings to show. I felt a sharp, cold edge of anger. If Brooke was behind this, trying to push me out of what I'd built while our parents played along, she had picked the wrong sister to challenge financially. 2 days later, I forced myself into routine. I went in my usual Saturday coffee shop, where the barista knew my order and the regulars debated hiking trails and property values. I had just grabbed my latte when someone called my name. Claire. I turned to see Tom Reynolds, one of Dad's old garage buddies, clapping me on the shoulder as if nothing had happened. Heard about the triplex, he lowered his voice. Tough stuff. What about it? I asked. Just what your mom and Brooke were telling Family Chat, he said, wincing. That you pulled out because work pressure got to you. You were overwhelmed, not a good time for mental health. He emphasized mentally, the way people do when they're afraid to say breaking down. I clenched my jaw. Overwhelmed. There it was again. I forced a tight smile. Rumors travel fast, I muttered. Tom patted my arm and wandered off, and I left the shop before my face betrayed how furious I was. Back in my car, I scrolled my messages. Not a single word from Brooke. Yet she had told extended family I was too unstable to handle a house deal I had practically engineered. This wasn't gossip. It was groundwork. I dialed Daniel Hayes, the financial advisor who had helped set up the family LLC before my parents, under Brooke's influence, switched to someone flashier. Daniel answered immediately. Claire, this is a surprise, he said. I'm keeping everyone out of trouble, I said. Has anyone tried changing ownership percentages in Mitchell Holdings LLC recently? There was a pause. I've seen some draft documents, he said slowly. Your mom mentioned a new advisor and floated some hypotheticals. There were references to adding another family member as a managing member. Your signature line was blank. I told her nothing could move without you. Did any of it go through? No. The paperwork was incomplete and, frankly, questionable. But Claire, if someone's trying to backdoor into your LLC, you need to act fast. I thanked him, hung up, and stared at the dashboard. My voicemail. Tom's choice of words. Mom suddenly wanting a new advisor right after Brooke lost her job. It wasn't random. It was a plan, shaky legally, but emotionally manipulative. Another notification. Brooke. Finally. What do you think you're doing, Claire? Pulling out of the house, freaking everyone out. Locking accounts. You're making it worse. I almost fired off every thought boiling in my head. Instead, I deleted the draft and opened my email. First, I wrote the real estate agent. Per our conversation, this is written confirmation that I have withdrawn from the Mitchell triplex purchase as borrower and primary qualifier. Any further representation that I am participating in this transaction is inaccurate and unauthorized. Then, a formal cancellation notice would go to my parents, copying their lawyer. Next, I drafted an email to Brooke in my usual risk escalation style. Any attempt to alter ownership, signature authority, or financial structure of Mitchell Holdings LLC, associated properties, or retirement accounts without my written consent is unauthorized and may constitute fraud. Do not sign my name. Do not imply approval. Any action will be documented and shared with legal counsel. No yelling. No name-calling. Just facts and consequences. I sent it, flipped my phone face down, and drove home. 6 more calls from Mom. 3 from Dad. None from Brooke. At my apartment, I started a folder. Family risk file. Screenshots of texts, the lawyer's voicemail, Daniel's notes, the emails I had just sent. Every move, every lie, every attempt to paint me as unstable, carefully documented. If Brooke was building a story where I was the villain, I would build a story she couldn't spin, backed by evidence, timestamps, and emails. A few days later, an unknown number flashed across my screen while I was buried in spreadsheets. I almost let it go to voicemail until I saw the firm name. Hi, Claire. This is Jason Liu, your parents' new financial advisor. I need to review some discrepancies in the Mitchell retirement structure. I straightened. He explained he'd been examining the LLC and retirement accounts and spotted draft forms adding Brooke as co-trustee or managing member, with my name referenced as approving changes, but no signature from me. Jason, to be clear, I said, I haven't signed anything. Nothing has moved since I set it up. Jason sighed. I assumed your family thinks you stepped away, and these changes reflect your intent. The word overwhelmed came up. From a compliance perspective, I needed confirmation. Treat everything as unauthorized unless you see your live signature. Then tell anyone claiming otherwise to provide written proof, I said. They won't get it. After hanging up, my cousin Megan called. Are you okay? She asked, voice low. Because Brooke's been saying you're falling apart. What exactly is she saying? I asked. That you pulled out of the triplex because of anxiety. That you hoard control of the LLC. That you threatened to cut mom and dad off financially. Now she's posting about abusive power in families. None of that was true. I told her. Megan lowered her voice. I didn't think so. It doesn't match the Claire who paid for the roof. Just letting you know what's out there. Screenshot if you want. Otherwise, don't feed her audience. We hung up. Moments later, an email landed from our agent, Susan, including my parents, Brooke, and Evan, the lawyer, on copy. The subject line, Mitchell Triplex Purchase Update. Quoting Brooke's message, per our discussion, Claire has pulled out due to personal mental health struggles. We need to move forward without her. Please respect her limitations. I typed immediately. Hi Susan, attached is my written withdrawal from 2 days ago and the pre-approval documents. I am not exiting due to mental health reasons. I am withdrawing because I no longer consent to my name, credit, or income being used under current family circumstances. Any other characterization is inaccurate. Please pause the file. I copied Evan and Jason, attaching all evidence proving I had been driving the process from day one. Susan replied promptly, understood. I will disregard Brooke's prior message and only follow instructions directly from Claire. Evan followed with a quiet acknowledgement, received. Let's discuss next steps. That night, an envelope appeared on my apartment door, Mom's handwriting on the outside. Inside, a line note. We love you. We were emotional. Please call so we can fix this before it goes too far. Mom. My chest tightened. I pictured her at the kitchen table while Brooke paced, crying, crafting the narrative. My phone buzzed. Megan had sent a screenshot of Brooke's newest post. Healing means walking away from people who weaponize their power, even if they share your last name. The comments were full of hearts and you go girl encouragement. I placed Mom's note beside my laptop and reopened the family risk file. Every email, voicemail, advisor note, screenshot, carefully organized. I realized then that defense alone wasn't enough. Brooke wanted a story where I was the villain. I was going to answer with one she couldn't twist, backed by timestamps, evidence, and fact. The following morning, a text from Mom appeared. Just 5 minutes. No arguing. Please. I stared at it. 5 minutes couldn't undo a voicemail that told me not to come back, but it felt more like her than anything I'd seen in weeks. Call me, I typed. She answered instantly, speakerphone faintly echoing in my apartment. Your dad's here too, she said. Hey, kiddo, Mark added. You wanted 5 minutes, I said. Mom exhaled. We messed up, Claire. Saying, you're out. Don't come back, that was extreme. We shouldn't have said it like that. You didn't. I said exactly that, I interrupted. Mom paused, then tried again. Your sister told us things. She said you were planning to cut us out of the LLC, talking to lawyers about retirement accounts, saying you were tired of carrying us and wanted full control. None of that happened, I said. Did you hear these words from her directly? Mom asked. No, I replied. I left that night alone. There was no car ride, no discussion. Dad sighed softly. Why would she make that up? Maybe because she wanted what I have, I said. If I am unstable and power-hungry, her sliding into documents looks like protecting me, not using me. Mom and Dad exchanged looks. This is past family drama now, Dad muttered. Evan and Jason were involved. Susan paused the house deal. I nodded. No more whispers. The next evening, I walked into my parents' living room carrying a thick folder. Same beige couch, same framed school photos, but the air was different. My parents sat together. Brooke perched in an armchair, tissue in hand, avoiding my gaze. "Thanks for coming," Dad said. I set the folder and my phone on the coffee table. "Just to be clear," I said, "nothing here is off the record in my head. If anyone lies, it will be documented." Brooke scoffed. "Wow, hostile much? We're family." "Then the truth shouldn't scare anyone," I replied. Mom twisted her hands. "Brooke, honey, tell Claire what you said to us." "No," I said, "Brooke can speak for herself." Brooke rolled her eyes. "I just repeated what you said," she snapped. "That you were done carrying everything, wanted full control, and planned to remove us. And this was in the car after dinner, right?" I opened the folder and slid a printed statement across the table. Timestamps from my gas station, ride-share receipts, and dinner dates proved I had driven myself. Brooke's story crumbled page by page. Mom finally turned to Brooke. "You told us you saw emails. You said Claire was done with us." Brooke sat up straighter. "So now you just believe her because she printed things?" "She's twisting everything to make me look crazy," I said. Dad fixed his gaze on her. "The truth doesn't fall apart when you hold it next to a receipt. Yours did." Mom looked at me. For the first time since that voicemail, something shifted. "We always thought you could handle more. We saw Brooke as fragile, so we protected her and pushed responsibility onto you. And now I realize the only person who lied to us was the one we told not to come back." Brooke opened her mouth. Mom raised a hand. "Not this time," she said softly. The word no landed in the room, and I felt a quiet satisfaction settle in. "What do we do now?" Brooke snapped finally, her voice sharp. "You've got your little packet of papers. Are you happy making Mom cry?" "This isn't about anyone crying," I said. "It's about consequences. You told me I was out. You tried to push changes through behind my back. You spread stories to make me look unstable. That has to mean something beyond a sad Facebook post and everyone pretending it never happened." Dad rubbed his jaw, thinking through a problem the way he used to at the shop. "What do you think should happen? You wanted me out of the family business?" I asked Brooke. I said fine. It'll step back from being the default safety net, but that also means no one gets to quietly use my name, credit, or work. "Brooke has zero access to anything I've built," I said. Mom hesitated. "Brooke doesn't have access." "Not formally," I interrupted. "But she's been in meetings, group chats, talking to advisors as if she already had control." "That stops today." Dad nodded slowly. "No more speaking for us. No more back channels." Brooke's voice climbed. "So you're just cutting me out?" "Yes," I said. "If you want to prove you can build something, you start with nothing like I did. You don't slide into someone else's work." Mom frowned but didn't argue. "Claire, isn't that harsh?" "Harsh was being told I was out," I said. "Harsh was having my stability weaponized for sympathy online. This is boundaries." Brooke hissed, "You're going to regret this. You think you can cut me off and walk away clean." I picked up my phone and slid it into my bag. "No. I'm protecting what I've earned and stopping you from turning my work into your safety net. What happens after that is on you." On my way out, Dad walked me to the door. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "For the voicemail, for not asking first, for letting it get this far." "I know," I said. "But believing the easy story doesn't make consequences easy." The following week, the changes became permanent. Jason sent revised drafts with only my and Dad's names controlling the LLC and retirement accounts. Evan scheduled a meeting where my parents signed documents limiting who could access their accounts. I updated the LLC operating agreement explicitly. No new managing member could be added without unanimous written consent. Brooke's name couldn't even be penciled in. When the last signature dried, something settled. Not dramatic revenge, just a system where the person who tried to push me out had no leverage. A few days later, Brooke appeared at my office unannounced, holding a binder full of plans, brand partnerships, and influencer pitches. "I have a business plan," she said, thrusting it toward me. "If you invest a little, I can prove everyone wrong." I didn't take the binder. "Start it without me. If it works, you won't need my money. If it doesn't, you'll see why I said no." Her face crumpled, a mixture of anger and panic. "You are really not going to help me," she whispered. "Not after everything," I said. I'm done helping people set themselves on fire with my gasoline. I turned and walked back through the secured door, leaving her and her binder on the other side. A month later, I stood in the driveway of a pale brick triplex in Denver, holding a box of kitchen items while my parents argued over the bird feeder. The bottom unit belonged to them, officially in writing, with a clause guaranteeing their right to live there. My unit was on the second floor, sunlight spilling through large windows. The third unit was already listed for rent, numbers carefully penciled in a spreadsheet only I controlled. Mitchell Holdings LLC was leaner, cleaner, and bulletproof. Me and Dad as managing members, Mom as beneficiary, no loopholes for Brooke. Weekends became quiet and ordinary. I cooked with Mom while Dad watched car shows. We stopped pretending money was a mysterious fog. I showed them the reality of accounts, the truth versus the illusions. Brooke ended up in a small apartment across town, bouncing between gigs. Her big event plans never took off. People started noticing her stories always needed a villain and a spotlight. For once, I wasn't either role. I didn't sue her, I didn't attack her online. I quietly removed her leverage and let her sit with a life of her own. I wasn't angry anymore. I was clear. Trust without boundaries is just an invitation for the wrong person to take over. Being the strong one in a family doesn't mean letting people weaponize that strength. If there's a lesson here, you can love your family and still refuse to be their insurance policy. You can forgive without giving them the keys back. And if someone ever tells you you're out, don't come back, you are allowed to believe them. Step back and ask yourself, what do I stop giving them access to from this moment on?